Hey guys, it's Josh Nelson with the Seven Figure Agency. Hope you're having an awesome day. Hey, I just wanted to shoot this quick video. I've been talking about webinars and our webinar strategy. I unpacked, topical webinars kind of being the go-to strategy we use to drive our entire appointment generation and inbound lead generation machine. Actually, that was kind of the main focus of my presentation at the Traffic Conversion Summit. And I put out there, hey, if you'd like, I'll do a deep dive on this and kind of go deep and kind of show you the results from our webinar, and more importantly, how we set it up, how we structure it, how we syndicate it, so you could do something similar in your agencies. And so what I want to do is I'll just share my screen real quick and kind of show you the results. So just wrapped up our new SEO Formula 2019. This is just kind of like where we explain, here's how to leverage SEO for your plumbing or HVAC company to get ranked on page 1 and to really build your authority. So I do webinars like that on topics of similar like things that are very specific but like broken down for our niche, plumbing and HVAC contractors. So I promoted this out in a variety of ways. We do email, social media, videos, all kinds of stuff in order to get the attention of our prospects. So we had overall we had 183 people register for the webinar. Most of those plumbing and HVAC contractors, I think I got a little bit of cross-pollination in some agencies and things came in there. That's fine. There's 183 people that registered, but more important is the impact. 27 people applied for strategy sessions from the webinar. And it used to be I would do these webinars, I would show up, I would promote, and then, I would take it and I would syndicate it out. And if we got like 5 or 6 people that scheduled from it, it was like a big win. So there was something that we changed in the last couple of years that really improved the number of scheduled strategy sessions we get from every webinar that we do. And so I just want to unpack that for you guys a little bit. I want to look over here and make sure that my OBS is actually broadcasting correctly. Sometimes I get a little nervous that what I'm doing doesn't actually hit, but it looks like it is. So let me kind of walk you through this. So again, we do webinars on a monthly basis on different topics. This last one was the new SEO formula, right? And this is the registration page. So we did all promotions. We got people into this page in order to register for the webinar. And then, like I said, we had 23 people schedule strategy sessions right after that. And so what we do is we take them on the confirmation page of the webinar straight to a, hey, thanks for registering for the webinar. It's going to be awesome. But if you're like most plumbing and HVAC contractors, you like to understand what's going on, but more than that, you really want someone that can implement this stuff for you. And so we take them straight to this page where they can enter their details and kind of schedule a strategy sessions before ever sitting on the webinar. And that was really something that almost 10x'd the number of scheduled appointments we got from every webinar that we did. Really a great hack, because your best prospects, the ones that run $1 million businesses that actually you want to do business with, don't tend to sit on these webinars. They're busy, they've got businesses, they get things going on. They will register for webinars, but often they won't sit on them. And so this was like a critical insight that really helped us get significantly better results for every webinar that we run. So I just want to kind of walk you through again why I feel like webinars are the ultimate content lever, and then I'll really show you how I have this set up in our agency, like the little logistical stuff, like how we set up the page and all of that fun stuff. So again, 27 scheduled strategy sessions. The reason I really have found this is such a powerful lever, webinars, topical webinars, new ones on a monthly basis, is because it gives you the ability to grow your database, right? Get new people into the fold, and then to nurture your database. So it grows the database in that as you create these webinars, really it's forced content creation. You're going to do a webinar on SEO, a webinar on PPC, a webinar about how to optimize for conversion. Like, it forces you to show up and create 45 minutes to an hour of good content. And then, of course, that video file, which is what your webinar is, the recorded version, can be loaded into YouTube. The audio from that can be loaded into iTunes for a podcast. The slides from the presentation deck can be exported out to SlideShare and uploaded to SlideShare on LinkedIn. You can take the promotion of the webinar, the replay of the webinar, and push it out to your, to all of your social pages and social groups and things that you're in on Facebook and Twitter and Google Plus and LinkedIn. And so by doing that, by putting out good, unique content on a consistent basis on very interesting topics for your niche, you can bring people into your funnel. And I'm going to kind of unpack a little bit how to really syndicate your content for maximum impact. But then it also gives you the ability to nurture your database. Like, we all have leads that are in our database from promotions that we do, like Facebook ads and pay-per-click advertising, from associations that we're involved in. And so we've got a database of leads. Ideally we're dealing with one particular niche and we know exactly who our ideal customer is, and we're kind of aggregating them into a database. Well, we know that just having a database with names and emails and contact details doesn't do much for us, right? All that does is give us contact details, suspects. The thing that moves us to getting more clients and more business is having a relationship with our list, right? Like Frank Kern, I remember sitting in a session with Frank Kern, and it was at the GKC Info Summit. His thing was, look, the money isn't in your list. The money's in your relationship to your list. And so you have to be emailing your database on a consistent basis. You have to be adding value to them. And so webinars gives you a reason to touch them. It gives you an opportunity to add value. It gives you a way to remain in their world. If you just think about this, you do a webinar, you can email them a couple times, so they're seeing you in their inbox. If you've got their cell phone numbers, you can alert them via text message without being too obtrusive. Say, I got a webinar coming up if you want to register. And then you can be in their social feed if they liked your page, if they're in one of your Facebook groups, if you're strategically targeting them as a targeted audience on Facebook. Like, you can become omnipresent and really start to develop relationship with your list, but you have to have a lever that forces you to create content. And that's really what I feel webinars, when done like this, not like a hard sale webinar, but just value added, good content specific to your niche on a consistent basis, opens up that opportunity for you. And so, really this is the way we use it. It's the reason to email the database with an offer multiple times. And I'm going to show you, we email them multiple times leading up to the webinar. So the invite to the webinar, reminder right before it starts, replay after it, so they're getting that in their inbox. It drives multiple streams of new content. So the live webinar, when you show up and you do it, there's people that show up for that, and they get value from it. The recording of it, again, up in YouTube, that's named in an intelligent way that can be discovered. Bonus, and this is something that I really have found to be extremely powerful, is to take your 1 hour long webinar and slice it into segments. Not like random segments, but just as an example, this SEO webinar I just did, the first part of it was the 3 major changes to the Google algorithm that you need to be aware of, and the things you need to do in order to make sure your past strategy isn't bringing you down, right? So it's like 3 bullets. I talked about 7 to 10 minutes on that. Slice that into a separate video, uploaded into YouTube. The second part was, how to optimize your website for SEO, right? And so it was, title tags, H1 tags, meta descriptions, conversion rate optimization, all of that fun stuff. And I talked for like 10 minutes about that. So I have 1 hour long video. That's the full webinar. But then I've got one on each of the specific topics. And there was a spot in there where I said, let me show you an example of how SEO actually impacts results. And so I pulled up the client's website, I showed where they ranked, I showed how many calls they got, how many of those calls came from SEO, and kind of made the point that if they weren't doing SEO, they would have missed out on X. I think it was like 290 leads that came in directly from organic SEO. And so that is a separate video that can then be uploaded to YouTube. And so by segmenting like that, I've got the long one, I've got like maybe 8 to 10 little clips from every monthly webinar that I do. And of course, every one of those clips has an end cap. And that end cap is, hey, if you enjoyed this video and you like more ideas and strategies on how to more effectively market your plumbing or HVAC business online, go back to plumberseo.net/checklist. We've got a great checklist that really walks you through the key things you need to do to really maximize your lead flow. Go there, download the checklist, and let me know how we can help, right? So now, every month, I'm creating an hour-long video that goes up to YouTube, an hour-long podcast episode that sits on iTunes, and like something like 8 to 10 micro clips that then go on YouTube that all kind of bring people into our funnel. So again, we take the webinar, the live webinar, the YouTube video. We create a blog post, and that blog post has the video, right? It has like maybe the description of what it was about. We can take the audio. So the video is an MP4 file, for instance. The audio of it is very easy to extract as an MP3. There's all kinds of podcasting tools out there. You just take that audio file, put it up, iTunes grabs it, Android grabs it, and now you've got a podcast that's being updated on a monthly basis with long-form value-added content. Obviously, you can transcribe it, add that to your blog post. You can take the slides. So let's say you've got a 63-slide deck, export that to PDF, put that in SlideShare, and now on LinkedIn, SlideShare's LinkedIn profile, you've got new content. And then, of course, you can leverage social media to drive registration. Hey, we've got this webinar coming up, and the replay consumption. Hey, go here to watch the replay. And so that's high level. That's why it works so well. Again, it forces you to create something new every single month. It gives you a reason to touch the database again and again and again. And it helps you create all of this brand new content once you syndicate it in a smart way that brings new people into your funnel on a very consistent basis. And so I'm just going to show you kind of my setup for this, and hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully this is something you guys can implement. So this is what our registration page looks like. This is built in ClickFunnels. So ClickFunnels, very simple application for this type of thing. I'm just going to pull up clickfunnels.com. I'm sure you guys all use ClickFunnels at some level. What I like to do is, where is it? Probably at the top. Okay. I throw all my webinars into one funnel. That way I can just clone, duplicate, move things around. Really, for every webinar, there's 3 pages. There's a registration page. There's a thank you page, and that's the shortcut, that powerful, hey, thanks for registering. Let's schedule a time to chat. And then there's a replay page, right? Those are like basically the 3 pages. And so for every month, I've got those 3 pages baked in. I embed them onto my website through the WordPress plugin. And so any of my pages then are added to our website. And so this is the registration page. Pretty simple, right? New SEO formula, click here to register, right? This connects to Zoom Webinar. So Zoom Webinar, great application. I like the way that it looks. I like the way that it feels. I like the way that customers can get in and interact with me and ask questions. And so in order to get that where I really want it, which is Infusionsoft, I use plus this. So set up the webinar on Zoom, integrate it with plus this, and then just do the registration page on ClickFunnels and the confirmation page. So that's how I have that piece of it set up. And then I use Infusionsoft to promote the campaign. So I'll just kind of come back here. We've got a couple pieces to any of our webinars. And again, this is something that we do every single month, so you start to get into a rhythm with it, right? So we've got the invitation sequence. So this is to promote it to everybody in our database. And we've got about 18,000 plumbing HVAC contractors in our database. And we send 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 emails. 6 emails over the course of about a week, inviting them to the webinar, right? And it's just, hey, got a webinar coming up. Hey, don't forget, this is going to be awesome. Hey, this is what you're going to learn. Hey, SEO is important. This is why you need to go check it out. And then, those are ones kind of leading up to it. And then I have a couple that I send them the day of. So I send one the morning of. Hey, I got this webinar coming up. Doesn't look like you've registered yet. You don't want to miss it. And then I send the just getting started to everybody, right? So, hey, we're starting in 15 minutes. Jump in right now. You'll notice, if you were following this at all, my initial promotion to this up to the day before, we had about 118 people registered. And then at the very last minute, like in the last day of the webinar, we got another 60 people that registered, because everybody wants the one that's that same day, right? So don't sleep on having some emails go out the day of the webinar. And so again, we want to touch our database a bunch of times. We got to do it in a non-obtrusive way. When we're doing a live event, it's almost like you get a little bit of a free pass to be a little bit more aggressive with your communication because it's live. Look, it's going to happen on this date. You don't want to miss it. So that's the promotion sequence. And then we also have a confirmation sequence, right? So this is like, okay, once they register, we want to make sure they get tagged, they get removed from all of those emails so they don't get everything like telling them, hey, the webinar's coming up, right? And so this is just, hey, you're registered, right away. And then there's one that's the morning of, hey, the webinar's today at this time, you don't want to miss it. And then the starting now. These are all the things I want to make sure they get touched 3 times after they register to make sure that they actually show up for that particular webinar. And then we want to make sure we have a after the webinar replay. So because, hey, you missed it, it was amazing, go here to check it out. And so, post webinar, everybody on the database gets the, hey, go here to watch the webinar, it was awesome, right? In case you missed this part, this is like something I got straight from Funnel Scripts, ClickFunnels deal. And it's just like, hey, I know you're busy. If you missed this one part at 16 minutes and 5 seconds in, I shared the 3 things that have changed with the Google algorithm that you really can't afford not to know about. Go watch this. If you're too busy, at least watch between 16 minutes and 24 minutes in on the webinar, right? And we get a lot of people that click that and watch it. And then we set up a couple of spears. Specific, personal, expecting a response. And so these emails are like very much, just like as if I was just sending them an email, SEO, right? SEO, would you like to talk about how we can help you drive better results with your SEO strategy? So we move from like very promotional emails about the webinar over the period of the month, and then it shifts to a personal email from me, and then a personal email from Christian, my director of business development. Hey, Josh wanted me to reach out, see if you're interested in talking about how we can help you drive better results with your search engine optimization. This works pretty well. We get a lot of people that reply back, right? Even if they didn't sit on the webinar, a lot of people reply back, oh yeah, I've been thinking about that, or hey, yeah, let's schedule a time to chat. And so this, when I say this, really drives our entire appointment generation and inbound lead generation process. It's because of that, right? As we're promoting the webinar, they're seeing us. As they register for the webinar, a lot of them schedule the appointment right off because we've offered that shortcut where they can hop right to our schedule. After the webinar, they're getting emails telling them, hey, go check it out. And then they get these spears and they reply back and say, hey, yeah, let's schedule a time to talk. And so we're able to keep our appointment funnel very full, just by doing this one webinar and promoting it strategically in this way. The other piece then is the syndication of the content. And that's where the inbound aspect of this really comes into play. And so this is kind of our process and how we set up for the webinar and then how we syndicate it, right? So pre-webinar, we pick the date and the time and we block it out. We set up the webinar in Zoom. We sync it with plus this. We have the design creative made. So usually there's 3 pieces of design creative we need for any webinar. The cover slide, and that's the one where you see with me like this and it says the new SEO formula. So we need that. We need the background slide, which is kind of like the internal pages of the webinar that would just have our logo and a picture of me. And sometimes we change it up, sometimes we don't. And then a social share image. So on the ClickFunnels page, on the social media posts that we do, we need that. We need an image. It's very much like the cover slide image that is something that when I promote it, there's a visual to go along with it that has a nice impact. We set up the promotional campaign in Infusionsoft. That's the promote to register, the confirmation, and then we leave the follow-up until the end. Then we set up the Facebook ads and start promoting. So really we do social posts, right? And those go up on like my personal Facebook profile, the company page, some of the groups that we're in that we control within our niche, like LinkedIn, Google+. So that's like just regular organic posts. And we usually mirror that to the emails in our sequence. So if we've got 6 emails, then there's 6 social posts, all hitting it from like different angles. And then we'll also run usually one promotional campaign during that period, not to a general audience, but to the retargeted audience, the people that are already on our list and that are in the associations that we're going after. We've got custom audiences for those, and we promote the webinar. That way we know they didn't just see it in their feed, but they're also seeing it in their feed as promoted as well. Then, of course, we conduct the webinar, make sure we record it. I like to record on ScreenFlow. So, I mean, yeah, usually if you do it with Zoom and you have Zoom record it, it does give you a recorded file. I like to have it in ScreenFlow because then I can control the audio, I can add call outs, I can have the position of my face in a different place and have my face be larger and smaller in certain places. That's just preference. So that's the setup. And then post-webinar, this is really where a lot of the magic happens. Obviously, you want to then take the webinar that's on ScreenFlow and export it as one long, 1 hour long video. Take the audio file and export it to an MP3 so that it can be uploaded as an iTunes episode. Take the recorded version and load it up into YouTube. Take the slides as a PSD and load them into SlideShare. Then we take the audio file and upload it. On the blog, we use just a little plugin that lets us create a podcast. And whenever we upload an audio file, it says, okay, that's a podcast, syndicated off to iTunes and to Google Play. We then take the video file, we upload it to Rev, very cost effective, like $1 per minute. You get a great transcription, which adds a lot of depth to your post. We set up a replay link on ClickFunnels, and that's what we're going to send out because there's a difference between a blog post and a ClickFunnels replay page. So a blog post, yes, we want to find that for discovery, right? We want to have lots of content there. Hopefully it gets found in organic search and people can find it. It's a little bit call to action, not as strong, right? When we email it out to our database, we don't want to send them to the blog. We want to send them to a ClickFunnels replay page. I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a sec. And then, of course, we want to send the replay out via Infusionsoft and or trigger the post-webinar campaign sequence. We want to set up a Facebook ad campaign that will retarget, like say to our retargeted audience, hey, go here and watch the webinar in case you didn't watch it. So we're really going to be omnipresent because we can push that out for about 3 weeks to try and drive consumption. And then, of course, we want to make sure there's a blog post on the website with the video and the file so that it's all there. And then we want to slice up the work. And I used to do this myself, so I would take my hour-long ScreenFlow and I'd say, okay, here's point 1, here's point 2, here's point 3. At a certain level, I just got too busy. I was like, man, I've got too much to do. I can't be pushing all of these buttons. And I was pleasantly surprised to find there are really good videographers that they like do this in their sleep. Literally, go on Upwork, place an order for a videographer to edit your clips, and for somewhere between $50 and $75, you can have someone take your entire 1 hour thing, slice it into segments, add your end cap at the end, and even load it up into YouTube so it's like automatically gets done. And it really creates a great like syndication process for your webinar content. So I'm just going to show you what the sliced up syndicated version of this looks like. So again, we want to make sure there's an actual dedicated replay page. And so to me, this is what the replay page looks like. Again, it's just like your registration page, only you're saying, hey, in case you missed it, this is to your database. You're telling them to go watch the replay. And you'll see, yep, it's got the video to watch the replay, but it really drives them to what we want them to do, which is to schedule a strategy session. So, I mean, really, this is where we send our replay traffic to a page like this. And we're really trying to get them to fill out the application to see if they're qualified, and then if so, to bring them onto the schedule so we can have a one-on-one strategy session with them. So that's the replay page. From there, of course, we load it up into YouTube, and then here's just the YouTube file with the hour-long video, brief description, pulling them back to the next page. And then we create the blog post and the iTunes episode. And so that's on our website, an actual post. So we've got the share image, we've got the audio file. This is just the MP3 that's uploaded in Amazon S3 and pulled in. We've got the video, right, embedded here. We've got some pretty cool show notes describing, hey, this is what we talked about. These are the key insights. These are the key information. All right, little bullets like this. Recommended resources. I have a great resource for taking like your raw file and turning it into show notes. If that's something that you're interested in, let me know. I can hook you up with somebody like that. This is the slide share. So I like to take the video and put it into the slide share. So if someone finds it on slide share, I'll just show you what it looks like. So you know SlideShare was purchased by LinkedIn. So now we got 39 slides. These are just the slides from the presentation. And at the front, we've got the video file. So if somebody found it on SlideShare, they'd be like, wow, that's pretty useful. Automatically syncs to the LinkedIn profile. You can see this was a couple days ago. We've already got 60 views. So people do stumble across this stuff. All right, so back to the blog post. So I think you can see there's a little bit of a difference between the blog post and the replay page, right? And so that's how we syndicate it out. And so just to kind of come full circle on this, right? This gives us the ability to. I'm gonna kind of come back to my face. So this gives us the ability to nurture our database, because we're promoting it on email, we're putting it on social media. It gives us the ability to create great content that we can then get up on YouTube, get onto our blog, syndicate via social media. And in my mind, it gives us the ability to touch our database between 6 and 7 times. And it gives us the ability to create at least 6 pieces of content, if not more like 20 pieces of content, by creating one unique topical webinar per month. So, I mean, hopefully this kind of clarifies everything I'm talking about. You've seen real world kind of what the setup is, like exactly what I'm talking about with specific pages. If it would be useful, post in comments, just post in comments, Cliff Notes, right? If you post in comments, Cliff Notes, what I'll do is I'll provide you the links to all of these different resources. So the link to my registration page, the link to my replay page, the link to like what a post looks like with the podcast and everything else. If that's helpful, just put Cliff Notes. I'll get you a link to a Cliff Notes version of this. That way you've got links and you've got some visuals to go along with it. So hopefully this was helpful. If you have questions, you can also post those in the comments. I'll try and address them as quickly as possible. And listen, I don't think we can make it any clearer, right? Do one webinar per month, promote it to your database, tap into all of the information you already have in your head to really position yourself as the go-to expert within your niche. And it works. It works really well. So thanks for joining me on this video. I will talk to you later.